apartments over there to your left, to your right. 15 years. Once you finish paying, you own the apartment. And the houses are built by the people. Then you repair me the materials and everything else. That's a private house over there to the left. And this they own the house.
Yeah, where are we right? Are we from
After traveling for 24 hours, finally made it to Cuba. Hopped on the red eye last night, flew into Toronto about 4:35. Had to sit at Toronto airport for like 5 hours and then fly to Cuba and finally got to our hotel room. It's like 6:30. Gonna be a pretty calm night tonight. Go do some exploring tomorrow. This is my third time to this resort.
Gonna do it? This salad workshop, they still do it?
Looking like a gorgeous morning out there. See if I can go have some breakfast on the beach. So I just got back from eating breakfast, picked up a box of multiple cigars right here. Pretty cheap, 17 bucks. I like smoking these punches when I'm here. It's like a cigarette, but it's a cigar instead. Let's get one of these bad boys lit. I love traveling to Cuba, however, I find a lot of people when they go to Cuba have the wrong expectations. That being said, is that they're used to going to places like, you know, Mexico or Jamaica or Dominican where, you know, hotels are really nice. And Cuba is a third world country with the embargo going on. So when you come to Cuba, you can't expect anything to be nice because everything is, how should I put it, made to work kind of like thing. They utilize what they have to make things happen. Does that make sense? If you want to talk about cigars and rum, nobody can make cigars or rum like the Cubans. The fucking best in the world.
No, usually we go.
So right now, just heading down to the market. If I can score some beers down there. Beautiful hot day in Cuba. It's about 11:30 now. Motherfucking beer time. Nice, he disappeared. Well, it's a good thing the weather today was pretty shitty. And that's an understatement. And shitty as in, I'm glad I didn't go on that Paradise Island tour with everybody else that I came here with, because I've not ventured too far from the room today. Got the shits fucking all day. Been popping Imodium like fucking candy. Usually always happens when I come to Cuba the first couple days. It goes right through you, and after that I'm fine. Just got back, picked up these. All these cigars are black market, but these are the Romeo Julietas, Churchills. Man, very nice. Well, I'm in Santiago de Cuba. This is probably Some of the roughest roads I've ever been on traveling. Definitely quite the interesting selection of Cuban vehicles running around. Korean, Chinese, Russian, some old American steel. That's one of the few gas stations and repair shops that I've seen so far here. Look at that Russian Lada down there. Bike with the sidecar. There's an old, was that a 55 Chevy? 55, 56? Now behind that bus, some sort of Jeep thing. They cram people in there like sardines. It's kind of like a bus. Not sure I'd want to ride on there. Of course, the trip couldn't be complete without making a pit stop and visit Justin Trudeau's father's grave, Fidel's. Big tanker leaving the port, going back out to ocean. So one of the things I stopped at was the Spanish fort, and I thought it was actually pretty cool that with the cannon there, with the ship coming in or out, that you just build a fire on it, just like you did back in the day. And then of course, it's heading out to open waters again. I found it interesting that there's so much artwork in this cannon, which is just designed to blow shit up. So this is probably one of the most interesting things on the trip I've seen. This is my second time I saw it when the Hurricane Sandy went through a few years ago, but this church was built in 1522, so she's a few hundred years old, but I just can't believe, like, you go inside and you see all the artwork and the design and the architecture and everything else. It's just really amazing to go there and see that something like that has lasted for so long. No electrical codes in Cuba.
No shit forgiven.
One thing I want to point out with a lot of the classic cars that are still in Cuba is that a lot of the engines have been changed out. So almost all those cars are burning diesel now. I don't know what kind of diesel engines, Toyota, Isuzu, whatever they can get their hands on over there. However, I did have a pretty good trip in Cuba. But at the same time, I don't know if I'll be coming back to Cuba anytime soon. If I did, I'd probably go into Havana or whatever. But I definitely won't be going back to Cuba until the embargo is loosened up a little bit. You can really tell that, you know, people are suffering and everything else. And there's many other places to see in the world. I wouldn't mind going to Iceland to see the Northern Lights. I wouldn't mind doing an Alaskan cruise. I still want to do another road trip up to Yukon, Alaska. Life is too short. And if you haven't gone away traveling, I recommend that everybody at least once in their life should take a vacation somewhere. Just relax, unwind, enjoy life, because it passes by you quick. And last thing you know, you'll be on your deathbed and you'll be wishing that you would have done more in life instead of just spend it all working. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.